Okay, so we're going to continue on with our charting program. And yesterday we worked it so we drew our own charting, just to give you an idea how to draw on a canvas on Android. And today we want to use this built open source library that lets us create our own charts. These are just beautiful. And you could spend hundreds of hours to try to duplicate what these guys have done already. So first of all, we need to get their library. We go to their aChart engine downloads, and this aChart engine 1.1.0.jar, that's the file we want to download. And I've already done that. So we need to move that file into our project. And we want to put it in our libs folder over here. So I'm just going to drag it into our libs folder. Say OK. And there we've got it. All right. So we also need to tell our project that we're going to be using this chart engine, jar file. A jar file is a Java archive. It's short for Java archive. And it's really just a compressed, it's like a zip file of all the Java files into one zip file. That's really what it is. So we want to go to our project structure, which I can't remember. There it is, that one. And we want to add in some libraries that we're going to use. And we're going to add in a new Java library. And it's in our libs. And we're going to just import this jar file here. All right. Apply. OK. And now it knows about that engine, and we can look inside of it and see some of the files from this. So you could actually look at some of the source code that they have for the structure of it, but the internals of it is all compiled. So they don't want you to get access to that, I guess. But I'm sure they have the source on there somewhere that you could download. So on the source, yeah, it's compiled. We downloaded the compiled version. Let's see. They probably have the docs. They have the demo source, but it doesn't look like they have the source itself. Maybe over here. Here we go. So you could check it out using Subversion. There you go. If you really want to do that. Yeah. Yeah, closed source. It's open. It's open. Just they don't. It's better if you don't mess with it, right? We're not going to go into that class at all, so we don't care about it. So, all right. So we already have a chart, waitchart.java that I have here. And so I'm going to just create another file so that we don't lose all of this stuff. So let's create a new source file, a new Java class, and I'll just call it chart. Just chart. All right? And this is going to, what do we have to tell our chart to extend from if it's going to be another activity? And there you go. Extends activity. All right. And we got to import everything as we go. All right. So it extends our activity. And then we need to, what's the first method that we create? Okay, on create. So we do a protected void on create, which receives the bundle. And of course we have to import this guy. It's a little buggy, I think, for this to finally hit that bundle, that importing that we have. And of course we should have the override in here, right? And then we call the super on create with the saved instance state. And then what did we end up doing yesterday? What was the first thing we did before we started playing with our chart and creating the canvas and all of that? Well, that was part of it. What else did we do? We had to get our data from the log file because our chart engine is going to use this data, right? So we created a method. So we have this read weight log method, right? So we're going to copy that in, and it doesn't know where it is. So for time's sake, I'm just going to go copy this method out, because we're not going to use it anywhere else anyway. Copy this out and let it import all the packages that it used. And that's pretty close. We still need this wait list, which was what? That was the array that we had. So we'll make that one of the properties of the class itself, the activity class. And that was an array list of type integer. And we called it wait list. And we create a new array list of integers. All right? So that's an array list that we can add more integers to, and that should fix that down here. So this method is pretty self-contained. All it's going to do is read all the data, do your splitting, and give me back an array list of all the weights only. Now, obviously, you're going to need more information than that, right? You're going to need the date, time object to spread it across the chart better. But I leave that to you guys. He says evilly. All right, so we read the weight log, and then what's the next thing we need to do to get this activities file to display on the screen? We have to set the content view of the r.layout and then I'm just going to call it the chart. And this is going to be what? What type of file is this? XML file, right? So we need a new layout over here that we're going to call chart. And all this needs in it is the linear layout. All it needs is a linear layout, but it needs to have an ID. So, come on. This linear layout needs to have an ID that the chart engine knows about. And so we need to set this ID to an ID of chart. All right, that has nothing to do with what I've named my stuff, that's what the aChart engine requires. All right? So that's all we need for that, because it's going to take over the entire screen. It'll take over everything we need here. All right? Oops. All right, so we have our weight log that's being read in. Chart. We're reading our weight log. Then we need a method that the aChart engine uses. So it's going to be a private void init chart that we're going to call. And this is where we're going to set up all of the things that we need for the chart engine to utilize. All right? So it uses these things called XY multiple series data set, which is part of their class. So we're going to say something like this: current series equals a new XY series, because you need an X and a Y to plot something, right? And we're going to call it something like weight log. All right? And it says, oh, don't know what that is. We'll import this. There. Right when I get it, I move off. There we go. We'll import the weight, this package, which is from the chart engine. Notice that it imported this aChart engine.model.xy series. All right, so that is some of the classes that are built into the chart Java library that we had. That's just the title of the chart. Title of this series, this particular series. All right, so we need some variables up here, as we see. So we need to have a few of these, so we'll just create them all. Graphical view. Again, one of the classes from the aChart engine. We're going to call this mChart. And I got this all from a tutorial. We want a multiple series data set. We'll call it data set. And you'll see how we use these when I get into that. Basically, we're going to copy our weight log data into these data sets, and then we'll tell it to draw the data sets. XY data set. We need a renderer, multiple series renderer. No, there's a lot of stuff here. What do we call it? Renderer. Renderer. Yeah, they are a little bit. Series renderer. Little verbose. Then we have a XY series of our current series that we had created down here. I already did that. And then we need our XY series renderer. Import that package. Oops. We'll call it mCurrent renderer. All right, so there's all the pieces we need. This is what we're going to read from our flat file, our CSV file, and we're going to get all the weight values into this. And then these are going to be used by the chart engine to draw the chart on the screen. All right. So we have to do a series of things with these variables before we can get started. So we have to have we have to set our data set value to, data set dot add series, add series, and we use our mCurrent series. So that's going to set some values that the chart is going to use. Then we need our current renderer. I know this is almost as bad as setting up a graphic port, but well, once you get to set up, it's one line. It's still significantly, I mean, you'd spend hundreds of hours literally to create this, so this is not so bad. Then we need to do this, add series renderer. Wait, I'm confused now. That's right. It's pretty close to one line. There we go. You can keep your health plan. Okay, that's enough. We'll do the other changes in a minute. I'll let you guys get caught up with that. Let me pause this. You can watch my video.
Make sure you scroll to the top of it so I can see what you recorded.
A lot of stuff, but I did it as I typed them.
Yeah, but in the video, I can pause it and just add it.
Ah, okay, there you go. All right, so we need to have a way, now that we have these series, which are just collections of X and Y data, we need to add our X and Y data into their format. All right, so we've already read the data into our wait list array that we created, right? The read wait log, put it into here. So we're going to create a method that we'll use in a minute called add sample data, or let's call it wait data. Be a little more better. All right, and this is where you would be adding your scale for your weight. In my case, I'm going to have a scale like this, where my X is going to increase by 20 every time, right? I'm not dealing with the date issue here. So we need to loop through our array list. Remember how we did that with this shortcut loop system here. And we call this mCurrent series .add method, where we're going to add an X and a Y. So in this case, my X is going to be something like this. I'm going to increment it at the same time. So my X is going to be, the first time through is going to be 40. And then my weight, which is each element in the wait list array. So this will be at 40, 180, 80, 165, right? So in this case, you guys would have to be changing this value to some date incrementer here. All right, so all this did was take our weight log data and convert it into their series information with an X and a Y. So that's our input into their weight system. All right. Then we need one more method that we're going to override the resume method. So and this is whenever this activity gets launched, this onResume is going to be called. And this is where we actually call the chart and choose which chart we want, and etc. All right. So we first need, anytime we do an override, we need to call the super, right, so that the system can do its stuff. And then we need to go get that linear layout that we created that only had the ID of chart here. Remember that? That's why we can go find it that way. So we need to find the view, and then on a resume, we don't want to create this every time. We just want to repaint it, because the first time it takes a lot of calculations to figure out where this is, and this charting engine then saves that as an image, so that if you reload that page or reorient it, then it's going to re-display that. So we first check to see if this variable that we're going to use, called aChart, is that null. That means we haven't done anything with this yet. All right? Otherwise, we're just going to call this aChart.repaint method. All right? So this here is where we're going to do all the work to set up the chart and set up the properties that we want for the chart, etc. So we're going to call our init chart method that we had up there, that we created. And that created all of those, these series that we needed. Then we also need to call our add weight data method, so that we put our data into their chart. And then finally, we're going to create our aChart. And this is the one line. Finally, we're going to call the chart factory. And then we can have, look at all these different charts that we can get. We have a bubble chart and a dial chart and a donut chart and a scatter chart. We're going to use a cube line chart view, where we pass it this activity, the data set that we created, the renderer that we created, and you'll see we can set some properties in these renderers to make them look different. And then one more thing, a bar chart dot type dot default. And this has to be imported. There we go. Whew. All right, so I'm missing 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Huh. I don't know why. Let me think it's some Windows issue. And then we call our layout, and we'll figure out what this is. We add this view that we just created called aChart. All right, so that adds it back to the view. And then if we've already created all of this, the next time this onResume comes forward, all we're going to do is call the repaint. So that's the idea for that. Now, why is this not working? All right, sorry. For this particular cube line chart, you do have a float that we pass, and we're going to pass in 0.3 as a float. All right, so that's how smooth the lines are going to be. All right, so I think we are done. Let's run this puppy and see if it actually works. Oh, that's one thing I didn't add. This is a new, I don't need a button. The button already goes to the right place, but I need to change my button on my weight chart, right, so that this on-click in my logger opens the right intent, right? So that was in the weight logger. I have to do a where is it? Here it is. Switch to chart. So instead of calling this weightchart.class, I'm going to call chart.class, right? That's my activity. And then I have to change in my manifest file, add a new activity that is, and we can leave the other activity there. We're just not going to use it for now. We're going to call this dot chart, right? All right, there we go. I think that'll work now. So we had to call our new activity from that weight logger activity. View, screen, whatever. That's a long line of code. Sorry. It'll work, guaranteed. Does it?
Well, I don't have any data.
Oh, you don't have any data, yeah.
Without any errors.
There you go. See, what else? That's what the Obama website said too. You ran without any errors, so let's launch it. All right, so here's my weight chart. Come on, baby. Speak to me. Yes. Look at that. So you see it's got the values down here on the bottom. They're very small. And it's got these values up here on the top, which are also very small. And the smoothest, remember when we did ours, we did a line dot, 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 like that, and it was very sharp, right? So the smoothness factor smoothed out the edges of the values. That's what that did. Isn't that cool?
0, no rounding, and 1 is natural rounding?
I believe so. I don't know. You could go look at the API. That's a good question. We can change that, but I want to do a different, let's see.
Different chart?
Let's do a different chart.
Let's do blood glucose chart.
Yeah, let's do a blood glucose chart. So let's do a bar chart, right? Let's do a bar chart. And this one is a get bar chart view. We pass it our data set and our renderer, and this is where we pass a new value of bar chart dot type dot default. Oh, gotta have a capital C. All right, so let's rerun that. Now, once you have it set up, so you can change all kinds of chart values, and everything else works the same. That was because it forced it to stop, because it's launching the new one. That's what that was doing. Nah. no errors in my code. Look at that, a bar chart. Then we can flip our tablet, which we'll call the Repaint, and it redraws it on the screen. Look at that. So it takes care of the sizing and everything. We don't have to do anything like that. We can let's set some of these text values so they're bigger, just to show you how we can do that. Yeah. So in our renderer, this is where we can start to add some of the properties and change some stuff. So for our M renderer, we can set the axis title size, right? The size of our text. So let's make it 24. And we can set the M renderer.set label labels text size to 24, for instance. And notice there's a lot of other methods there. And we'll set the chart title to 48. How about that? Chart, oh, not the title. I want the title text size. Sorry. You could reset the title. So let's make that really big. Probably didn't like me switching in the middle like that. There it goes. Just really slow. So there we go. Got bigger sizes. This is the key down here, so you can change that and the colors of the charts and all that kind of stuff. You could theoretically then add another view that had different buttons that said, give me a line chart, a bar chart, a pie chart, and all you'd have to do is switch which chart you're going to display during there. So that's pretty useful, eh? Significantly easier, really, if you think about it, compared to drawing your own lines and your own bars and things like that. That's a lot of math, which I know you guys don't do math. So you do math in 10 minutes. All right, any questions on that? That's a lot of changes. There's a lot of tutorials on this aChart engine online. I'll post the one that I had, that I used for this, so you can see what I got it from. And that's it. No questions?